Okay, we are going to talk about this for quite a while on this morning's stream. If you're catching it here live, this shall be a pretty interesting section of the show where we're going to talk about Starfield. Now, I'm a little late to the game. Okay, I understand that. There's been a lot of Starfield content out there, and I've been blocking it from my eyes. I've been blocking reviews. I've been blocking even our own Discord. Like, I see a lot of discussion. I saw Shockwave in there very vehemently saying, you know, this is not a comparison. Star Citizen and Starfield are not comparisons. I saw Starlet talk about it, put her input as somebody who's in this space, in the gaming space or in the IT realm, give her opinions on it. I have not seen anything. Okay, I've been waiting for you all to be here with me to get some type of, I don't know, closure as to this like debate that apparently is going on outside of my, you know, I'm skin deep right now with Starfield. And as I was saying here earlier with Erad on in the morning, is that I believe that, and I told Erad this, that I believe with Bethesda and what we're dealing with here, that this in no way is going to be, and again, I haven't seen anything yet, but my opinion is right now is that this is no way going to be competition with Star Citizen. That I believe that since it is a Bethesda title, welcome Trace, welcome to the fam, dude. Glad to have you here. This is the craziness that you can expect from this wonderful community. I'm expecting that this is going to be more RPG related, like kind of like an RPG space experience. I'm not quite sure, but let's check it out because this is the gameplay reveal of Starfield. Okay, a lot of opinions in chat right now too as well. Let's see what we got. The wonder is not the field of stars is so vast, but that man has measured it. Oh, so it's No Man's Sky. No. oh, wait, no.
Allocating auxiliary reactor power. System checks are green across the board. Grav jump commencing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I mean, they grabbed me from the start.
It's hard to express how excited.
Oh, no. And then they got Todd Howard on here. Oh, no. What's up, Instacata? Thanks for that resubscription. See ya, Oz. Thank you for being, for modding the channel. Thank you so much and being a mod. Thank you. We appreciate you, Oz. Go get some sleep, bro. Appreciate you so much. Okay, everything was great until I saw Todd Howard. I don't know what it is about Todd Howard, but I just...
all of us at Bethesda are to be here with you today. We're so grateful you're spending the time, and we know you've waited a long time to finally see Starfield. It's easily our most ambitious game ever. Like our previous games, it's an epic role-playing game.
He is trying to be so fashionable and young, and he is not. Let's just not. Can we acknowledge that first? Can we acknowledge the matching leather jacket with leather shoes? Can we acknowledge that?
Where you get to be who you want and go where you want. But this time, you'll be exploring space. So let's jump right in. This is early in the game as you arrive on the mysterious moon of Crete.
That was good. That was good. I love you guys. I love you guys. It's so good to be here. Wow. I mean, that looks pretty good. David Hasselhoff. His wolf haircut is disturbing. What's up, Nolat? Welcome to the stream. Okay. First off, I would just say that the particle effects are very basic. Now, I understand we are in a are we in a beginning stage? When is the release date of Starfield? Does anybody in the chat know the release date here? Or, you know, I know they got pushed back, but I'm not quite sure what the date was they pushed it back to. 2023, probably like what, Q2, Q3? Yeah, probably like mid-year 2023. Yeah. First off, let me say I'm not impressed by the particle effects on that. I know I'm being particular, but I've been involved in game development for so long that I can tell you I'm not really hip with some of the effects right there that I saw. That's it. Let's see. Yeah, and also it has that cutscene vibe as well, which, you know, it's Bethesda, and again, we're not getting ourselves into like a scenario where I think we're dealing with a space sim here. We're probably dealing with more like an RPG thing, you know. Solo, single player, right? Single player.
According to the scanners, the abandoned research facility is in this direction.
Yeah, I agree, Chrono. Walker says SC wins, we are safe. The character modeling's good. That crab's pretty wicked looking. That's something I'd like to see. That is something I would like to see in Star Citizen, you know? Like, I do want to start seeing this, you know? Like, the wildlife. I do want there to be a focus on that. Right, Mod. Right, dude. Right, dude. That was a funny comment. So right, dude. True, pal. Okay, so we have a No Man's Sky collection system. Is that what I'm seeing right there? That is an NMS collection kind of system that I just saw there with the elements. That's a direct ripoff from NMS. Looks good though. I mean, like, looks pretty good so far.
It would appear that pirates of the Crimson Fleet are using the facility.
Okay. All right. Kind of elite, dangerous, basic weaponry. We got, oh, we have gravity. We have like gravity effect.
Someone's trying to jump our squall. Hold them off here while Brogan sets up on the roof. No one's getting through.
Mush.
There you are. We've got company. Opening fire.
So far we've incorporated NMS collection system, and now I'm feeling a cyberpunk FPS experience. So we've taken cyberpunk FPS and we've pushed it together with NMS collection. Okay, all right. It's called No Man's Punk Rim. Is that doesn't sound right, does it, Pepe? Okay. Yeah. All right. Basic, like, hacking features. Look how easy that was. Can I just say, look how easy that is? Like, that is so very basic right there. Like, line them up. Line them up. It does. It does, Dylan. What's up, Dylan?
You're gonna pay for that!
Wait. Was that like a Mario double jump? What did I just witness right there? Was that like a what? How? What? Hold on. I got to see that jump again. What? It's got a rocket booster. Rocket booster? Yeah, rocket booster. Okay, rocket booster's cool. I want to see that in Star Citizen. I do want to see rocket boosters in Star Citizen. I also want to see parachutes in Star Citizen. I also want to see a physics grid. Okay. All right.
After some initial encounters, you're invited to join Constellation, who in the future the game is set in are the last group of space explorers. To meet them, you'll head to the capital city of New Atlantis.
Not bad.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
There's your Morrowind and your ESO. There's your Elder Scrolls faces and everything we're accustomed to with Bethesda.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? These artifacts could be everything we've been...
Yeah, that is something that you guys are so right about. Like, the faces are so bland and cookie cut. I don't know what they're modeling with. The character modeling is better than what I've normally seen from Bethesda, but like the faces really lack that fidelity, really lack me feeling like it's alive. When you go into Star Citizen and you look at the faces and you see those eyes, man, and you see the detail in the faces with Star Citizen, man, motherfuckers look alive in Star Citizen. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Looking for.
No moist in yes.
As to what they are, what they're building. You'll be part of solving that puzzle now.
So, you found something?
The new guy found it.
You dug up the artifact, right? That means you saw it. The visions?
The artifact you found appears to be one of many, scattered across the galaxy. If we can find more...
I like some of these environments.
Beautiful, isn't it? The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him.
Of course, the Settled Systems is full of groups with other priorities.
That's the Crimson Fleet!
Everybody get ready!
The fleet doesn't follow the rules. Agree to work for UCC Step. And together, we take down these cutthroat pirates.
We're not just here to shoot the bad guys. We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Freestar Collective.
When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, no one quits. The only way out is death.
The path ahead may be dangerous. But we are not stopping.
Most Dusties don't even make it this far.
Because whatever lies at the end of this...
Dude, I'm seeing like ArcCorp in here. I'm seeing like Grimhex in here. I'm seeing like Warville in here. I don't know, man, but like a lot of them look really similar. I'm not saying they're ripping it off at all, but like Jesus, like a lot of the stuff we saw NMS-based collection, we saw cyberpunk-based FPS. A lot of the environments that I'm looking at look almost like a lot of Star Citizen locations. It's really insane here. It's really insane what I'm seeing.
This road will change humanity.
Total NMS cutscene.
Forever.
That gives you a look at the stories in Starfield. But ultimately, it's not our story. It's the story you create by who you are and the choices you make. And that starts with character creation.
Yeah, who's piecing this
our
sound
most
together?
flexible
It's
yet.
terrible.
You can customize all the elements of how you look.
Yeah, I'm seeing Mass Effect. I'm seeing Mass Effect as well. Absolutely.
You'll pick a background that gives you
Hair.
free starting skills.
Look at this hair. We thought
Says here you spent
3.15
some
was going
time
to
as a
be the hair patch. We thought
Putting
that.
away with words
We've been
might
waiting for a
prove
long
useful.
time for a hair patch.
There are optional traits, and these come with unique advantages and disadvantages. But it's not just in how you can look, but in how your character plays and develops.
Listen, let me just say this. With this style of game, right, with the Bethesda is giving you, first off, if the storyline is very enriching, and again, it's not my jam normally. I'm going to say I'm biased against these types of games. Generally speaking, I'm an MMO guy. But, you know, like, if it's a solo play game, right, I want to make sure that the story is very rich, like a rich, deep narrative. Like, it has to be a story that I can stick with, especially in a solo game. Otherwise, I'm out. And, you know, there's very few titles out there that have great storylines. The other thing that, you know, I think is really important with games like these are the choices available to you. Not just the choices that you make, like Astral had said earlier in chat here, you know, the choices we give you, you know, like, you know, right. The choices that are designed or pre-designed that Bethesda gives you are sometimes very limited, and it doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room to be exactly who it is that you want to be in a Bethesda game. Bethesda's kind of done good and bad at this. They, you know, there's a lot of titles out there I could say they did good with the choice narrative, you know, being able to feel free enough to make these choices to give you a really good game experience, and where they've dropped the ball. I mean, we all of us know these titles, but I want to make sure, like, if this is a game I'm going to pick up, that the narrative is very good, and that I feel free to make whatever choice I want, and that the game can adapt with the choice that I make.
The skill system combines the best from our previous games. And you can
think so,
unlock
Ash.
new skills as you level
I
up.
absolutely agree
and
with you,
then
Ash.
rank those skills up by using them and
Bethesda
completing
needs to
challenges.
upgrade it.
And there's deep crafting systems, from running research projects
All right,
with resources
crafting.
you find, to crafting weapon mods needed to survive.
Right. I mean, I like some of these aliens.
And you can build your own outposts. These act as a home away from home for survival and resource generation.
Okay.
You can choose where and how to build each one, and you can hire characters you meet to keep it up and running. But that's not all.
Like still, the particle effects are a little low. Lee's like, hey, I mean, it's as good. It looks as good as SC. It does have a good look. It does have a good look. I think the character modeling is not quite necessarily as good as Star Citizen. I did like the interior of the ships. I do like the environments, you know. So in certain respects, I agree with Lee. But like in other effects, like these particle effects, not so great. Not really hip to it. The AI, again, I shouldn't compare AI. I mean, like, Star Citizen has leaps and bounds to go with AI, but like AI in this game also looked a little bit jank. And again, like, they're not at the stage yet where this game is ready. They're saying it's going to be ready in 2023. I don't know. It does have some eye candy to it. The crafting system looked like it had some depth to it. But yeah, the effects are fun, are what make it compelling, and those effects look kind of basic to me. I mean, I'm sorry if you disagree with my opinion, everyone, but you know, these are my opinions, and this is unfiltered. But I think they have a lot to go on. Particle effects need a lot of work, like a lot of work. I love reading your guys' comments. I'm going over all the comments over here. It's good stuff.
You can
the
even
music
build
is great.
Your
The music's
own
great.
spaceships.
Yeah, I think you're right, Soriel. I mean, the interiors are great. Wow. I mean, that's nice looking.
You can choose crew members.
That's cool.
And
that
yes,
looks
you
great.
can completely customize the look and layout.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I like that.
There's loads of different
That's cool looking.
modules, ship manufacturers, and more.
Okay.
I have to say, it's so cool. We just absolutely love this.
Okay. I'm down with the ship customization.
It's not just how the ship looks, it's how it performs, from engines to shields to weapon systems, because yes, you can fly it.
Great. I mean, shouldn't that, right? It's called Starfield. Did we not expect that we couldn't fly these? I mean, we wanted to fly these ships, right? Like that, like, is that a big deal? Like, he's like, oh, but you can fly these ships. Well, okay. Thank you. Orson. Okay, this, I mean, it looks pretty good. No planetary landing, though, right? Is there planetary landing? Wait a second. Wait a second. Is there planetary landing? Give me a spoiler. Somebody tell me. Is there planetary landing? Okay. Okay. No planetary landing. No planetary landing. Boo. Boo. What, is it a loading screen? Is it a loading screen? Oh, no, dude. Oh, I should have expected that, though. I should have expected that. Oh, man. Oh, let's, one more time. One more time. One more time. Just like... Sorry, I had to. But to be fair, though, this, like, again, I'm like, just based upon what I learned right there, that's a big no for me. Like, that's a big no for me. That turns me off big time. That there's no seamlessness in this day and age. You know, I guess I'm spoiled. What's up, Bernard? Welcome to the fam. But yeah, like, I guess that really turned me off right there. Learning that, like, that there's no planetary landing, that there's like loading scenes, you know. Well, the explosions are decent. The afterburn effects are cool. The sounds are good. Good to have you here, Bernard. I mean, that's pretty decent.
We can't wait for all of you to...
This guy. Oh, okay. So that didn't look too bad. I'm hoping that this game will give us also the ability to customize your ship for the particular type of role that you're trying to fulfill. So whether you're a miner or you're a trader, I'm not quite sure how those gameplay mechanics end up, you know, being implemented in Starfield, but I'm hoping that you have the ability to customize a ship for a particular type of role that you would like to be in the game. I think that would definitely make the experience better with Starfield. He's part couch, says Orson.
To experience the game. Thanks again for being with us today, and thanks for all the support you've given us over the decades, especially on this game. It's been an incredible journey for us making it, but we know that's really only the beginning, for it's when all of you play it that the real journey begins.
So inspirational.
And you may be wondering,
words, Mr.
just how
Howard.
big is this game? So we thought we'd take one last moment and show you.
All right. I really don't like the format. You know, like this is so corporate and so commercial. When are they going to learn this isn't what the gamers want to see? This is all ego, all narcissism here on its worst level here. You know, like just you know, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see him.
let's take a look at one of our planets, Jemison.
Chris, hey, listen. Chris is off the cuff and makes mistakes quite often. I'd rather see that than what we just saw from Howard, you know?
New Atlantis. You can also land and explore anywhere on the planet.
Oh.
And it's not just this planet.
Oh, that's really simplistic.
Planets in the system. From barren but resource-heavy ice balls to Goldilocks planets with life. And not just this system, but over 100.
Push A to populate. Push B. Is it going to be that?
Systems. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore.
I don't know if I'm down with that.
We can't wait to see what you find.
Well, the maps looks better, but the interaction between what it is that you do and the UI interface right there looked pretty like the things that make me want to cringe, you know, Ash? Like yes, the navigation panel right there did look pretty tight, but like the fact that you had like these buttons you could push to do basic actions were just like so vomitose, you know? Right, Tech. Welcome back, Tech. Oh, that looks good. Most likely strap. Okay, that's interesting, but we're going to take it another step further because Erad says, come on, it's an RPG. And I called it because I felt like, since Bethesda was making it, I said at the very beginning of this video, I felt like it was going to be no competition for Star Citizen, and it would be somewhat similar to an RPG, so I was right about that. But let's hear what Erad has to say in his latest video here about Starfield and a deep look at the combat experience. So Erad's in our chat now. We're going to go to his second channel here, which I'm subscribed to, called The Eradicators. Definitely, when I put this highlight out to YouTube, I will definitely put his channel down there. We're helping out a second channel. Let's see what he has to say about the deep look at the combat experience. Of course, Erad, you're my friend, man. Let's see what these guys say.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Eradicator, and in this video I wanted to go back to yesterday's Starfield presentation and take a closer look at the combat aspect of the game, which was also revealed alongside many other gameplay features that we will analyze on this channel over the next couple of days. So, as we learned, Starfield will feature both first-person combat on the ground but also in space, and there are some really interesting aspects that we can analyze from yesterday's video. First, we will talk about ground combat, which does appear to be on foot only, as we haven't seen any vehicles that we can use for combat. But it doesn't mean that they don't exist, it's just that we haven't seen them. And it looks like Starfield, by the looks of it, is going to offer an interesting mix of traditional FPS combat and role-playing elements that are going to then play a role in your character progression. And I like that very much. Anyone who's played, for example, Kingdom Come Deliverance will know just how good it feels to seamlessly transition from an inexperienced combatant to a seasoned fighter while using the same weapons. There aren't many more satisfactory experiences than that, and it looks like it is going to be what we are going to get here, as we gain experience points with each enemy that we kill, but also each place that we discover or each box that we loot. Speaking of enemies, it looks like these are going to have a visible health bar as well as a very short description indicating their nature, in this case Parrot, as well as their level for your own reference, just to let you know if you should decide to engage in combat with them or not. Starfield is also going to offer a nice variety of different weapons, including ballistic submachine guns, laser or plasma rifles, pistols, shotguns, and grenades. Those will be accessible via a weapon wheel that seems like it is putting the world in slow motion when you are using it, but only for a short period of time, so that means that you will have to make your decision quickly.
Slow-mo mode, you know?
You will also be able to monitor your health at the bottom right of the interface. The footage shown in the player getting hit pretty bad here during that encounter with parrots, but there were no detail as of what happens when the fight is over. Do we gradually get your health restored, or do we apply some medical supplies to ourselves to restore the bar to 100%? That remains to be seen. We also haven't seen the looting mechanics, and I would have loved seeing the player loot some of these parrots to get some ammo or medical supplies, and then get further ready for the rest of the mission.
It does
Speaking
have
of
that vibe
reloading
to it,
here, we were also introduced to the character progression further along the video, and it looks like the more we perform...
Again, I feel like the FPS has, like, look at it right here. I feel that it has like a cyberpunk vibe to it, like a CD Projekt Red. Like, it looks like CD Projekt Red came into Bethesda and did like an FPS mode
introduced
here.
to the character progression.
They took it another step further, because this is also Cyberpunk skilling. Like, this looks literally like Cyberpunk's FPS and skilling. So they're taking elements from other games and they're incorporating it into, they're taking successful type elements and inserting it into Starfield. You know,
and it looks like the more we perform an action, the better, or should I say, the more effective our character is going to be.
I'm liking the video so
going to be good at it. Take reloading, for instance. In Starfield, if you reload X amount of times, you will be able to perform that action a little faster
it
each
could
time.
Very well be
each time you do that.
Very well be. How many of you are happy with the movement system? Or the moving mechanics, like the characters' movements in a Bethesda game. Like, I remember my friend Einar and I, we would play ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, all the time, and I just hated the character movement. You know, it's a dated game, it's an older game, but plenty of people still playing ESO. But I never liked the combat system in ESO. It always felt sloppy, like you had to run into things. It was very World of Warcraft, very like, you know, ESO related. I just don't know about it, you know.
Exactly.
The movement,
reach,
character
for example,
movements
a
on
predefined
Bethesda.
threshold, which is going to give you an edge in combat, as it could be a difference maker between making it alive or not. The rest of the footage we've seen seems pretty straightforward, and it looks like it is sticking to the basics of FPS combat. You face your enemy, you shoot, you kill, you reap the rewards. We haven't seen any fancy animations such as sliding, and there was no such thing as taking cover. We have not seen anything related to stealth kills, but again, it doesn't mean that it's not in the game, it's just something that they haven't shown. And now, let's talk about space combat. And I have to say that I really like what I saw. The game in space looks very good. The ship movements look believable, and I love the heavy sound effect that make each of your actions sound a little bit more dramatic than what they really are. Let's get in the cockpit first, and here you can see a relatively simple UI giving you some information about your ballistics, your missiles, and your lasers, meaning that you will have access to all of these 3 different kinds of weapons, and that they will probably have their own properties that you will have to weigh in when you will have to decide which one to use. We also see a speedometer and an afterburner or a boost indicator. We can also see a missile lock indicator, and it looks like we'll be able to target specific components like ship thrusters here, which will indicate that we will be able to disable our targets, perhaps to be able to board them, and I would love that if we could just capture ships too. Speaking of targeting, it looks like that giant circle is also a gimbal indicator, which makes sense because we need to think about the game's target audience. Starfield is a role-playing game, not a space simulator, and the people who play this game will probably play it with a mouse and keyboard or with a console controller, not necessarily a high-end dual joystick setup like in Star Citizen.
And like that setup right there did not look to me like you're gonna be dual sticking this or HOTAS. I mean, this looked really simplistic. I absolutely agree with you, Rad, on this. It's going to be mouse and keyboard, or it's going to be console controller, you know. It was confirmed that shipboarding and capture will be in. Interesting.
And in fact, I'm not even sure it will be possible. So, because players will be using controllers, especially on consoles, which are not the most accurate in space combat, let's be honest, gimbal weapons is, in my opinion, the best choice to provide us with a fun and accessible combat experience. And just like its ground counterpart, I am pretty sure that as you fight more, you will advance in the skill tree and be more accurate, or shoot faster, or maybe make better evading maneuvers. And because of the forgiving nature of gimbal weapons, it will also make third-person combat much more accessible as well, which explains why you see the player's ship landing a handful of pretty good shots here on the footage. If you look at the bottom left, there seems to be also some kind of power management minigame as well, with some capacitors which will allow you to direct more power either to your engines, your lasers, or your shields. And that's a very classic feature in space combat games that we've had for decades, and that we are going to see in Starfield as well. On the bottom right, we have an icon that represents the ship, and that will give information about the shields and hull integrity status. I have also noticed that the shields seem to be depleting a little bit as the ship goes through the debris generated by the destruction of an enemy, which looks awesome, by the way. So that means I will have to... these debris will not only look visually super cool, but will also have a small impact on your ship's health, which I found was a great touch. It means that we'll have to watch out a little bit for those debris out there. Overall, I am very pleased with what I've seen when it comes to combat, and it looks visually very dynamic and satisfying, while being complex enough for some of the more hardcore players to enjoy. Of course, Bethesda has shown us a best-of this footage here, and our own experience is probably going to be a little bit different, but I still believe that it is a good indicator of what we should expect. And that's all for this video, but let me know, guys, what you guys think of combat in Starfield. Is it something that you're looking forward to? Are you more of a combat or an explorer, perhaps? Or do you prefer other types of gameplay and role-playing games? Well, let me know everything in the comment section down below. And also, if you think I did a good job at...
Yeah, like, I would say very well done, by the way, Erad. I like that. You picked up on some really interesting things that I missed on the gameplay myself, so it's nice to see. Definitely going to like that vid. But yeah, I would say that the combat looked simplistic, but was visually appealing. And, you know, I don't know. Like, I do agree that normally a Bethesda game coming out is usually a buggy mess, like Valos says. So I don't know if I'd hop on right away. But what do we know about price on this? What are they doing on price? Do we have an idea on what price is? While we look for that, Ray's Guide did a video about this as well. I told you we're going to talk about Starfield for a little bit, and this looks like an interesting title here. Ray says, is SIG worried about Starfield, what they should be reacting to? So Ray's got his opinions on what SIG should be reacting to by watching this Starfield demonstration. Let's see what Ray has to say.
Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. And returning from a brief spring hiatus, I'd like to take up a topic that has been happening, and that is the extended preview of Bethesda's Starfield. And at the start, I'd like to say that I plan on adding Starfield coverage to Ray's Guide, partly to help fill in the time until Squadron is available, and partly because, as I will be discussing in this video, it is different than both Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. So in the first half of this video, I'm going to discuss whether CIG is concerned about Starfield, and then about the areas in which Starfield's preview should and should not affect the situation for CIG. Now, you may be getting ready to comment about how I, as an outsider, could be making statements about CIG's concern. But hold off on that comment for just a second. You see, I was at the Los Angeles Bar Citizen World Tour event, and a surprise attendee there was Chris Roberts, along with Sandy Roberts, who literally everybody was expecting would be at the British location, if at all. But apparently the Roberts family is leading a dual-continent life, and in fact their departure time was dictated by the need to get home and pack before their flight. I can only imagine the number of miles they are accumulating on British Airways. So as the event was winding down, I found myself at the same table with Chris. I was the guy in the Panama hat, and I did ask, "Are you concerned about Starfield?" Now bear in mind that this was not a arranged or recorded interview, so I only have my mental notes to go by. And I also frankly expected that the answer would be no. I was more interested in hearing why Chris wasn't concerned. Chris noted that prior to all this, which I meant the Kickstarter, Bethesda had in fact talked to Chris about creating a space game, which goes to show how long the space genre has been on Bethesda's radar. Then he went on to say that he regarded Starfield to be an entirely different game because of the differences between single and multiplayer games and the social interaction of them. I then observed that I was actually thinking more about Squadron, and Chris answered that he also considered Squadron a very different game than Starfield because of the very specific linear storyline of Squadron 42.
Right.
And honestly, I agree with Chris. There is a huge difference, in ways both large and small, between a highly immersive linear storyline that has been the hallmark of Chris Roberts' Wing Commander series, and the kind of gameplay in a Bethesda RPG, which allows a lot of side wandering from the main storyline, in which, in the military world of Squadron 42, would get you court-martialed for going AWOL, would it not? Now, going AWOL and getting court-martialed might be an interesting side path in Squadron 42, but you would only be doing it for a very specific reason. So in fact, the general action and general sandboxy nature of Starfield is kind of in the middle of the spectrum, between the complete sandbox of the persistent universe and the complete rails of Squadron 42. But more than that, a new gameplay preview like this inevitably adds to the conversation, and Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are part of that conversation.
I mean, like, really? That's why I love the pairing of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen in the first place, right? Because I talked about this earlier, about 15, 20 minutes ago, is that Bethesda's going to give you a set of choices, and I don't want those choices to make me feel limited because maybe it doesn't offer me the certain choice that I want in the game. Or, you know, like it is like middle of the road. Like what it's, you know, the choices and the consequences in this game are pre-designed for you in a manner which hopefully Bethesda can give us that real experience to where we don't feel limited. We don't feel like we're tied down, right? But I agree with Ray here. I think it's going to give us it somewhere in the middle, which in my mind, in terms of like that narrative of like choose your own adventure kind of pacing or the type of game mechanics that I look for where choices have consequences, is going to give me a middle of the road experience. I believe, I don't know, but I have a feeling that Starfield might give me that kind of middle of the road experience where I do feel limited in certain roads that I may take, that I can't take a certain road because it was never really pre-designed by Bethesda developers. So that does land it kind of in the middle between Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. And one of the reasons I really loved the way Chris went about this and did Squadron 42 is it's a very linear experience. It's very Wing Commander. For people not old enough that never played Wing Commander, it did have like a very scripted, here's your choice, this is what happens. But it had a replayability about it, probably the same way where Starfield will have a replayability as well. But it was very dedicated to a cinematic type experience. Wing Commander Squadron 42, I believe, is going to replicate the Wing Commander choose your own adventure experience. And I really think that like I like that. I like that kind of we're talking about solo games here, and I prefer the Squadron 42 experience over the Starfield experience, you know. And then the fact that the PU gives you like unlimited choice. You know, that's really why I love MMOs. The reason why I gravitate to MMOs is you have this free reign of doing whatever it is that you want, creating your own missions just from, you know, hey, what am I going to do? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to be a pirate and take this miner's ore, or am I going to be a trader and try and stay away from pirates and vice? You can do all these things, right? So like you have like an unlimited amount of choice that you can in the MMO.
Conversation, whether valid or not. And the Starfield preview does raise some matters.
See you, Astral. Have a great day, buddy.
Digging into some of them and whether they are valid or not. So first of all, creatures. We've seen concept art of creatures in Star Citizen, but so far nothing actually in the game other than the brief appearance of turtles. Creatures, particularly non-bipedal creatures, are difficult
like
to do, mostly because of the inability to do mocap on them unless their morphology closely resembles an existing domesticated creature. The ones shown by Bethesda are good but not great, but so far ahead of anything yet shown in the game by CIG. So that does represent something where CIG might feel a bit challenged to show what they have in the works. Show us something besides the animals that were concepted so long ago.
Yes.
Honestly, the mining that was shown for Starfield clearly did not measure up the current persistent
but it
universe
does look
hand
very
mining.
No Man's Sky.
No skill, no collection. Also, there might be some calls to what SC has compared to the XP, and please resist any suggestion to add them, Experience points are the first step in a stats-based game, and they intrinsically...
Yeah, in the PU, we don't want that. In the PU, we don't want that. Maybe they'll have that in Squadron 42. I doubt they'll even have that in Squadron 42. I don't believe we have experience, skill-based things in Star Citizen, nor should we, ever. Your skill, the reason why Star Citizen attracted me, especially the MMO Persistent Universe side, is the fact that you actually have to learn the ship that you have, where everything is at, know every piece of your ship to know how to operate the ship. And this is the skill that it takes to require to fly your ship. That is what makes it so special. It's actually a real life transition and gaming transition where like you have to go through the processes of being in the ship and flying the ship and fitting the ship to know exactly, and repairing the ship to know exactly what you are into, like what role are you into, what ship is designed for that particular role. Now that I have that ship, how do I take care of this ship? And these aren't anything that I would like any experience points attached to. These are internal experience points, your own skill, your own initiative, your own ambition, you know, whatever it may be. It is implemented to be a natural action to learn. And that is why I love Star Citizen. I'm not big on incorporating experience points in Star Citizen. I've seen people say that, and it drives me crazy when I see people say, oh, I want experience points, or I want skill books. And, you know, it's like, obviously don't know what Star Citizen is if you're saying that. And I see it quite often. I actually see those comments quite often.
They take you out of the in-game immersion and into an out-of-game abstraction. You will see this pattern over and over again comparing Starfield to Star Citizen. In the same way we have the level numbers, identifiers, health bars, all stats-focused and arcadish, non-immersive elements. So they just don't fit with the Squadron 42 Star Citizen genre. So talk of why we don't have those in Star Citizen should be met with, because that's not Star Citizen. Even though, sure, they would be handy in a mission. However, we do also see a HUD radar display, which is something that we have been promised before and would be worthwhile to see what CIG has been working on in that regard. The reveal also showed their system for lockpicking, and I presume also for hacking. It avoids the cliches of the Mastermind game and the Connect the Pipes hacking minigames in many other games, but in all, not really all that particularly challenging. But it whets the appetite for what CIG has to have them open up more about what their own hacking and lockpicking systems that have been teased for so long. Also in the legitimate category is the system for...
Which we know is going to be implemented. We know that's going to be part of the gameplay, and that's something we were shouting that we wanted back in 2015, 2016 when we were theory crafting the game. And a lot of people said, no, DG, no, everybody at DG 360, we don't want that. And I started laughing. I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. Of course we want hacking. Of course we want it. We got very basic hacking right now where you just buy your key and you insert it and you wait, you know, God knows how many minutes to clear your crime stat, you know. But you know, we see a very basic beginning, like I wouldn't even call it tier 0 hacking, but I do want to see this progress, and it will.
Below the neck customization. Again, something that has been promised for Star Citizen for some time. The system included in the Starfield demo was clear and simple, although I am no fan at all of the putty green color palette. The system only has 3 factors, which fights the inevitable trend towards making every character look like Duke Nukem or Lara Croft. Interestingly, it does not appear to have a height adjustment. Weird. But it raises the question of what the long-promised character customization ability in Star Citizen will beyond the faces. But honestly, when it comes to walk style, that just reminds me of this old Monty Python bit.
I love this bit.
Then there is the matter of the extensive list of character classes and skills which are tiered up through use. These are standard RPG tropes and add layer over layer on top of the you are you and you are there immersion that Chris Roberts has always focused his games on. So, if it leads to suggestion that CIG should have some sort of skills and advancement structure similar to that, the response should be, quite deliberately, nothing. The base building segment looked good and fairly comparable to what has been shown for Colonialism Outpost, except we haven't really seen many details yet about the player-facing ability to create bases. So the level of curiosity of what CIG will provide us when it does is increased. A great deal has been made about the ability to hire NPC crew, which has also been promised for Star Citizen, but we at present really don't have anything yet showing on Star Citizen for that.
Yeah.
Then the shipbuilding system, which increases expectations for CIG, showing some progress on player-facing modularity. But
that is exactly how the fit screen should be. This simplistic and easy to use and graphically pleasing to the eye. This is exactly what they need for, they've got the ability with building blocks. They need to implement this so that this happens in the mobiGlas, and this is exactly the kind of user interface that I want to see when fitting a ship. I mean, like, really, it needs a big update. We did get word that there will be updates to it. I'm looking forward to see what that's going to be like, but it needs a huge upgrade.
For those who suggest that CIG should take the same route and do
I do too. I love this
system,
interface.
I would
it's
suggest
great.
that it should be rejected and that they should stick to their current manufacture and model with limited player-facing modularity. Why? Well, first look at
now Ray is talking about the ability to swap out modules easily within Star Citizen. I mean, like, they're going to switch to a modular type of design too. You're going to see this a lot more with a lot of the ships coming down the pipe, where they're going to give you more modular designs on ships because they're going to make more revenue that way. I really see that happening. I really see Cloud Imperium going to a more modular design based on ships, where they give you like the hull, and then they give you different like modules that you can put on the ship. And we like the Redeemer. Or not the Redeemer, it's the Bomber. It's been forever since I hopped in one. Tally, so the Retaliator. So I think that you're going to see more ship designs go towards a modular design because it just makes sense. They're going to bring in more revenue that way.
The ships shown in the video, they're all sort of medium, large ships in the Constellation range of sizes. Nothing like a Razor or an Origin 100 or 300. Or
it looks like to me they've already got NPC crew. Like, if you look at this ship here, like this, I'm not quite sure, but this looks like you're inside of the ship, and I think, like, when I see this is really what I want to see in Star Citizen. I want to see more NPC. I want to have the ability to have NPC crew right now. I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but I think we're at the stage where we would definitely like to see NPC crew. And I think it's important. And I would love to see the inside of the larger Star Citizen ships have the ability to have an NPC crew, the ability to hire the NPC crew. NPC crew gets placed in your ship, and you got gunners, you got engineer, you've got various roles in the ship that can be filled by NPC crew. And I really want that to happen soon. I do. Modularity currently, yes, is the modularity happens at the beginning of the pledge phase, but you can. What I'm trying to say, Walker, is that I believe more ships are going to be designed to have like a basic hull with the different modules being, priced differently depending upon the role, and that will bring in even additional revenue. Because think about it, you have one ship, but you've got like five different types of modules you could place on the ship. Changing its rules slightly will bring in 5 times the amount of money on one ship because they're making the ship modular. That's kind of how I see them going about designing ships down the road, getting a couple months ahead from now. We've seen it a little bit now, but I think they'll have a lot of success in doing that.
Nothing like a Razor or an Origin 100 or 300, or pure fighter like a Gladius or Arrow, or massive cargo ship like a Hercules or a frigate, or you get the idea. There's only so far you can push a single modular system either up or down.
In terms of financially, it would, right?
You see, This sort of fully modular
Orson
system
says he feels like there's going to be less of it, not more. I'm not quite sure. We'll see.
Will be discovered and promoted.
I may be wrong.
But honestly, in a single-player game, do you
financially,
care?
It makes
sure,
more
90%
sense.
of the players will have the same meta ship, and just like 90% of the players will have the same meta gun and the same meta skills and modifiers. But do you care? You don't see those other 90% of players, and that they're all identical to you. But in a massively multiplayer game, it is completely lame if everybody is flying the same meta build ship and the same meta build skills list. So much as it would be fun to play with CIG, should stay with the ship systems it has, particularly since it has been so effective in powering the revenue model of the game. Now, the RGB color system. Yes, we've been waiting an unreasonably long time for that, so showing something on that is overdue. Unfortunately, it's also not needed for Squadron 42. Having Navy pilots be able to paint their craft any color they want would be downright silly, so there's that. So how would I handle that problem? Well, create a set of skins specifically for RGB customization. And so to do custom colors, you have to first add the custom paint skin to the craft and then set the color. Then just not have the custom skin available in Squadron. Then there was the 100 elephants in the room, the promise by Bethesda to have 100 star systems in the game. That number can't simply have been random. It certainly was a direct take from the 100 star systems promised in the Star Citizen stretch goals.
Which, you know, let's be real, what a low blow that is. Bethesda should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. Like, let's put on some shame bell if we can, Pepe. Like, really, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. Like the map, like Ash said, is great. Like the UI interface with the navigation system and the panel is great. But shame on Bethesda for doing that, because this is completely left field compared to what Star Citizen is going to offer us. There is no seamlessness in any of this. So, of course, they can offer 100 systems. It's literally like an XY push of the button that takes you a system. And, you know, I mean, like, there's no seamlessness to any of this. So, come on. Come on. Again, you're right. Again. Like, seriously, Bethesda. This is the dumbest thing ever. Shame. Shame them. Shame them.
A promise that has been repeated over and over by critics of CIG. And interestingly enough, it was also seized upon skeptics of Bethesda's announcement. Would they be able to actually fill 100 star systems with interesting content, or would they be just cookie cutters? Because it seems that perhaps we have misunderstood the space game audience. Perhaps, if the space game fan, quantity is not as important as quality when it comes to star systems. It has taken us quite a while to get a real grip on Stanton, and we will likely take just as long to get a full experience of what Pyro has to offer. With that taking so long, to finally get to 100 star systems on decades would be on schedule, it would seem. So to summarize, Starfield isn't going to be either a Squadron 42 or Star Citizen killer because it is so very different a kind of game, and Chris Roberts feels the same. And some of the inevitable, why doesn't CIG do that, should be dismissed. Specifically because it is so very different a kind of game. But others do apply, and the audience's curiosity has been awoken, and CIG will have to crack open a little on these features to either deliver them or preview them. The next Virtual CitizenCon would be an excellent opportunity for that. And yes, I do plan on covering Starfield more in the future. In fact, part of my reasons for this video was to lay out what I consider fair and unfair comparisons when creating that future Starfield-based content. Now for an update on our Grow the Channel ship giveaway and what I'd like.
All right, cool. So Ray brings up some really good points here. I'm definitely going to like that video. I think we've gone through the gambit here talking about Starfield. So to wrap it up in conclusion, you know, here's what I have to say after kind of digesting all this material. You know, combat-wise, it looks simplistic, but it grabs me. As far as choices, it probably is going to be limiting. And you know, hey, I might be able to do what I want to do, whether I'm a trader or a pirate, or, you know, I might be able to be these things in Starfield. But it like overall, I have to say that Bethesda, like Valos has said, when they introduce a new title and they bring it out, usually it's a hot mess. and it takes some time. So I'm not going to jump on this title right away. I'm going to wait to see what people are going to say about it, how many bugs there are, and, you know, I'm going to get some more information along the way. But this generally wouldn't be a title that I am instantly like, wow, I got to have this, you know. However, there did look like there was some fun to be had. Again, you got to realize I have a bias because I am into MMO and the ability to choose whatever it is that I want to choose. And that is a fun gaming experience to me. Player interaction is always huge. But when you get in these one-player solo type experiences, like I said earlier, the narrative, the story is really important. If the writing is spot on, and I really feel like I'm a part of it, and that the AI is so good that it feels believable, that I'm fighting against actual people, and it's not predictable, then I would say, okay, now you got me a little bit more. Now you've hooked me in a bit more. But just off the bat, I can tell you this is not anything you have to worry about in terms of like, whoa, is everybody going to take this game over Star Citizen? Which I find hilarious that I'm seeing this debate happen at all. And it's obviously just a clickbait content creator extravaganza meant to bring eyes in and then just give you the same shit you've seen on every other person's channel, you know. And, you know, let's compare the two. Let's do a comparison, which there's really there's no common thread here. There's literally no common thread. And I got to shame Bell for content creators that are making it seem like that. Shame them, Pepe. Thank you. Shame those content creators. And if you're watching those content creators that say that there's some type of commonality between Star Citizen and Starfield, then you need to just unsubscribe to them and not listen to them, because they're not bringing you anything but the surface. They're not going down. They're not talking about it like this rationally. And, you know, frankly, those types of content creators right now have millions of subscribers, and they're doing no service. They're doing a disservice to their community, to their audience, to even suggest that there is a common thread or commonality between Starfield and Star Citizen. And I cannot stand that when I see it. And I see people that are successful that manipulate people and the views by clickbaiting people in. It is the worst type of content I've ever seen in the world. So please do everyone a service and unsubscribe from people that say that there's some type of common thread between Starfield and Star Citizen. Thank God Erad did not say that. We are a lot of times agree or have very similar points of views in the world of game development. It was nice to see that Ray also saw the differences. So these are two content creators here that I highly endorse. Go check out Erad's second channel, The Eradicators, and go check out Ray. I liked it. I liked it all. And Starfield, I might give it a shot.